Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? To be part of this session and to moderate this first panel, Research Infrastructures and European Strategic Agendas, the Green Deal and Energy Transition. It is a pleasure for me to be here and to share with all of you this panel. And for this, for the first thing I want to invite to the audience to participate. You have been well aware that there are tools implemented in the whole room, in the conference room, through which you can interact with us. You are going to have the possibility to send your statements, your comments, your views regarding the topic that we are going to discuss here, and also to raise questions to our panelists for them to answer. We will start with a keynote speech, and then we will have the panel with all the speakers ready for present the different topics, the different approaches to the subject from the point of view of research infrastructures. And afterwards, at the end, you will have the opportunity to pass. We will have the opportunity to pass your questions to them for their answer. The conference pretends to serve as a meeting point for discussion and for gathering the opinions of all the research infrastructures stakeholders in relation with the Esfri white paper, Making Science Happen. And it's for this reason that it is very important that you could join us and interact with us in order to gather your views, opinions, and questions. For this purpose, we have post a question, a guiding question that we will help to motivate the participation with your comments and views. And the question is, how can research infrastructures help in the implementation of the European Green Deal and the Energy Union? You have the opportunity to send your opinions in the top box in the top up box of your screen, and in the second box you will have opportunities to send a direct question to the panel. After these practical messages, let's enter directly to the content of our panel. The Esfri white paper underlines how important is strengthening the role of research infrastructure to contribute to the research innovation in achieving Europe's policies objectives. The research infrastructure are key in driving the necessary transition toward a greener and innovative society by providing new technologies, sustainable solutions, and disruptive innovation. A number of research infrastructures have been supporting the European objectives in the fields related to the Green Deal and the energy transition. For instance, the Strategic Energy Technology Plan, SET plan, in the implementation of the Energy Union recognize the need of count on world-class research infrastructures for the development of its implementation plans. Different research infrastructures, from solar concentrated solar power or carbon capture, CO2 carbon capture and storage, are like EU Solaris or Excel, are contributing like main pillars to this process. There are many others that are contributing in other areas also related with the Green Deal, in terms of biodiversity, in terms of climate change, in terms of the development of batteries and technologies for this purpose. We are going to have, in this context, a extremely good panel composed by Barbara Weitgruber, Director General for Scientific Research and International Relations at the Austrian. Sorry, I forgot to share my screen. For you to see them all together here. So our keynote speaker will be Barbara Weitgruber, Director General for Scientific Research and International Relations at the Austrian Federal Ministry of Science and Research. Then we will have a panel composed by directors of 4 of the research infrastructure, director and main representative of 4 of the research infrastructure that are involved in this topic. We will have Christos Arvanitidis, the Chief Executive Officer of LIFEWATCH-ERIC. We will have Esfri Quayle, Director of ERIC. We will have also Tonsi Tadic, Council President of Esfri Dons Preparatory Phase Projects, and Jana Kolar, that is the Executive Director of ERIC. So with no more delay, I would like to invite Barbara Weitgruber to start with the keynote speech for this session. Please, Barbara, the floor is yours.
Dear participants, thank you, Inma, for introducing me. Let me start by thanking the Croatian Presidency of the Council of the European Union for hosting this conference on European infrastructure for a smarter future. In times when EU leaders meet regularly by video conferences to discuss and assess the EU contribution as part of a global response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the European recovery plan is being designed, it is of utmost importance to discuss the role of European infrastructures in the overall strategic agenda of the European Union. The European Green Deal, presented in 2019 as a new growth strategy, aims to transform the EU into a fair and prosperous society with a modern, resource-efficient and competitive economy, where there will be no net greenhouse gas emissions in 2050, and where economic growth is decoupled from resource use for the European Union and all its citizens. All EU actions and policies will have to contribute to the European Green Deal objectives. The Green Deal is, of course, also an integral part of the European Commission strategy to implement the United Nations 2030 Agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals. In this context, the EU will continue to be part of international efforts and build alliances with like-minded partners all around the world. And as the Commissioner mentioned, ever since the European research area has taken shape, European research infrastructures have been an important pillar in the efforts to overcome fragmentation and isolation of national efforts and to contribute to a dynamic European landscape based on our shared values and visions. In the discussion of the future of the European research area, the focus lies on mobilizing knowledge for a better and more sustainable future. When our efforts to solve major challenges and to achieve the necessary transformation of our economies and societies, as described in the European Green Deal, with the strong contribution of science and research infrastructures will continue to be a vital pillar of our European research area. They can also play a vital role in creating an inclusive European research area by contributing to a more synchronized co-evolution of research and infrastructure systems, by strengthening their quality and excellence, by reducing inequalities and fragmentation, and by fostering collaboration, connectivity, and complementarities. Embedded in the European research area is Europe's flagship research and innovation initiative, the framework programs, currently Horizon 2020. In the transition towards a climate-neutral, sustainable Europe, the new program, Horizon Europe, scheduled to start on January 1st next year, will, of course, in synergy with other EU programs, play a crucial role in stimulating investment in research and innovation, with the earmark of at least 35% of the budget designated for new climate-related action. Horizon Europe also brings another novelty to the European research landscape, the mission-oriented research. The mission areas having the most potential for complementarity with the objectives of the Green Deal currently being discussed are healthy oceans, seas, coastal and inland waters, climate neutral and smart cities, soil health and food, and of course, adaptation to climate change, including societal transformation. In addition to these missions, Horizon Europe partnerships, particularly in transportation, in energy, and circular biosectors, should also be designed to contribute to the Green Deal. Moreover, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology will continue to contribute through its KICs in the field of climate change. In complementing Horizon Europe and in implementing Horizon Europe, we need a holistic and multidisciplinary approach with research infrastructure playing a crucial role. In order to tackle the major environmental issues addressed by the Green Deal, excellent, world-class, as the Commissioner and the Croatian Presidency said, environmental and ecosystem research that helps to increase and improve our comprehensive understanding of the Earth system is essential. This is where infrastructure comes in. Research depends on research infrastructure delivering essential data, information, models, and technologies. To tackle environmental related issues, but also other societal challenges, data from a broad range of areas are needed. In the context of environmental issues, data about the state of the various domains of the Earth system and also the pressures on them are needed, for instance. For this, we also need distributed research infrastructure covering the different domains. And we need to support more collaboration in all fields of sciences. We need infrastructure which enables researchers to work towards a universal understanding of our planet and its behavior, including societal behavior, of course, in a more integrated, cross-scale and cross-disciplinary manner to successfully cope with environmental and other societal challenges. The EU digital strategy, Shaping Europe's Digital Future, proposes green transformation measures for the ICT sector and therefore for e-infrastructures as well as a common European Green Deal data space.
Sorry for this problem with this. We have experienced a shutdown of the network, and we have been disconnected, and everything went down for a brief time. So we will reconvene our session. I would like to give the floor again to Barbara. Barbara, sorry for this unfortunate problem, but the floor is yours for continuing with your speech. You are available. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, and let's hope that we all stay connected now. Let me resume by reiterating that when implementing Horizon Europe, a holistic and multidisciplinary approach with research infrastructure playing a crucial role will be vital. In order to tackle major environmental issues addressed by the Green Deal, excellent, world-class, as the Commissioner and the Croatian Presidency said before, environmental and ecosystem research that helps to increase and improve our comprehensive understanding of the Earth system is essential. This is where research infrastructures come in. Research depends on research infrastructure delivering essential data, information, models, and technologies. To tackle environmental related issues, but also other societal challenges, data from a broad range of areas are needed. In the context of environmental issues, data about the state of the various domains of the Earth system and also the pressures on them are needed. For this, we need distributed research infrastructure covering all different domains, and we need to support more cooperation in all fields of sciences. We need infrastructure which enables researchers to work towards a universal understanding of our planet and its behavior, including societal behavior, in a more integrated, cross-scale and cross-disciplinary manner to successfully cope with environmental and other societal challenges. The EU digital strategy, Shaping Europe's Digital Future, proposes green transformation measures for the ICT sector and therefore also for e-infrastructures, as well as a common European Green Deal data space to use the major potential of data in support of the Green Deal priority actions on climate change, circular economy, zero pollution, biodiversity, deforestation, and compliance assurance. Besides, work will continue on the European Open Science Cloud, which provides seamless access and reliable reuse of research data to European researchers, innovators, companies, and citizens through a trusted and open distributed data environment and related services. The European Open Science Cloud is therefore the basis for a science, research, and innovation data space that will bring together data resulting from research and deployment programs, and will be connected and fully articulated with the sectoral data spaces. Therefore, Europe will deploy the European Open Science Cloud operations to serve EU researchers by 2025. But we will steer the development of stakeholder-driven European Open Science Cloud governance structures in connections with the launch of the corresponding European partnership by the end of this year. At EU level, the topic of research infrastructures has not only received increasing recognition over the past decades, but the European Strategy Forum on Research Infrastructures, as highlighted by the Commissioner before, has also developed a long-term plan for the establishment of European research infrastructure, the Esfri roadmap. The roadmap clearly shows how synergies between investments in research infrastructures and the strategic agendas of Europe are built up. Esfri strives for a coherent and strategy-led approach, empowering researchers to develop coordinated responses to the challenges mentioned, developing research infrastructure more efficiently, enabling the development of globally competitive centers, and facilitating international research cooperation, enhancing the capacity to contribute to solving global challenges, since the drivers of, e.g., climate change or biodiversity loss are of course not limited to national or European borders. Let me just refer to some examples from the environmental field, but also SSH to support the Green Deal. The research infrastructure for long-term ecological research, for instance, providing information on the state of a whole range of European ecosystems and impacts of pressure embedded in a global network. Or an example from the societal field, the European Social Surveys has collected scientific data about European attitudes to climate change and energy, shedding light on one's willingness to change behavior in energy consumption, for instance. And we all know that we need concrete results on European citizens' readiness to adapt their energy-related behavior. There's large potential to contribute scientific data to give a foundation for policies relating to the Green Deal. The Common European Energy Data Space in the energy sector, several directives establish customer access to and portability of their meter and energy consumption data on a transparent, non-discriminatory basis and in compliance with data protection law. The specific governance framework must be defined at the national level, of course. But legislation also introduced data sharing obligations for electricity network operators. Regarding cybersecurity, work is ongoing to address energy-specific challenges, notably real-time requirements, cascading effects, and the mix of legacy technology with smart state-of-the-art technology. The availability and cross-sector sharing of data in a secure and trustworthy manner can facilitate innovative solutions and support the decarbonization of the energy system. The Commission will address these issues as part of Smart Sector Integration Strategy to be adopted in the second quarter of this year, as announced in the communication of the European Green Deal. Also, data-driven innovation strongly correlated with research infrastructures will bring enormous benefits for our citizens, for example, through improved personalized medicine, new mobility, and through its contribution to the European Green Deal in connection to the Energy Union. And in the end, this is what it's all about, our planet and our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for this wonderful talk. It is a very broad, you do all the many different topics. It's a very comprehensive, and it set perfectly the scene for the coming panel, in which we will discuss part of, not all of the points that you raised in your speech, but some of them. So thank you very much. Despite the difficulties that we suffer, you are on time, you finish on time and everything. Thank you. So we will go directly to the panel now. We will start with our four director of research infrastructure. I will like to start. I would like first to say that we need to be really attached to the time, because we have suffered some delays and we need to not create more delays. So first of all, I pass the floor to Christos Arvanitidis. Christos, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Immaculada. I would like to thank also the Croatian Presidency for this kind invitation. And I'm going through directly through the few slides we have prepared. And I'm going to talk about the first question, what the new European policies offer to the research infrastructures. But before I go there, let me introduce you. Yes, please.
Christos, could you send the slide in presentation mode?
I did.
If it's possible.
I did.
Okay, then go ahead.
Isn't it shown?
Yes, we can see it, but it is not in presentation mode, what we see in Zoom. But it's okay, we can follow perfectly. Don't lose time on that.
Yeah.
Because we can follow. Go ahead.
I hope you can see now in a better way, right?
Okay, continue, please.
Okay, so LIFEWATCH-ERIC is a research infrastructure on biodiversity and ecosystem research. We are a distributed infrastructure in the way that our common facilities are distributed into 3 countries: Spain, the statutory seat and ICT core, Italy for the service center, and the Netherlands for the virtual laboratories and innovation center. But we also engage 4 more countries which contribute with their distributed centers as well. So to the next one, but I can't for some, okay. Before we start talking about what they can offer as infrastructures to the new policies, we should have a look to the what's and hows and whys of the European research infrastructures. They are conceived to be tools for science, operating as facilities, resources, or services. And in fact, what they're doing, they're developing our technology and provide a thruster for the advancements of our knowledge. They offer unique research services to the users and stakeholders and many other interested groups. They are meant to conduct top-level research at all possible scientific disciplines. And in this way, they become vehicles to break current barriers with both within and between the disciplines. But above this, what do they offer to the new framework? For some reason, I can't. For some reason, it takes a while, for my slides to come up or disappear. Anyway, the European research infrastructure offer, on the science side, consilience, or in other words, what we call the unity of knowledge. And this is literally and jabbing together by linking all facts and fact-based theory across disciplines in order to form a common background. For what is that? This common background can help all the other disciplines to compare the results against. And in this way, we are ending up in a synthetic knowledge, looking for knowledge stemming out of evidence from as many disciplines as possible. This is called cross-domain. And on the technology side, they offer an environment for boosting integration, for the defragmentation of the community, and of course, an environment for innovation and growth practically without limits. In LIFEWATCH-ERIC, we offer some disruptive technologies, such as the blockchain technologies for services, and this is called LiveBlock, and also our common technical composability layer to integrate our services, which is called LIFEWATCH-ERIC Tesseract. We are facing...
Christos,
yes.
We stay in the first slide. We are not going through your slide. I don't know if you are. We
I'm on
only
the third.
see
I'm on the third slide, and I'm finishing up, in a couple of minutes. I don't know
no,
why.
no. It's not for ending your presentation. It's because we are not looking at your presentation. We're stuck in the first slide.
I will restart. I will restart.
You need to open the presentation mode and then share your screen.
How about now?
Now. You are in a new one.
Yeah, but do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And the last one is that the research infrastructure are facing, severe challenges on the scientific agendas, on the technical levels, societal challenges, and most important, cultural scientists. So the question is, are those research infrastructures indeed organically linked to the new framework, such as the Green Deal and Energy Union? Do you now see the next slide, Inma, or is it on the previous one?
Well, we see the slide, but we see also the Zoom chat. If you can close the Zoom chat, it will be welcome. Perfect.
Okay. So the opportunities for the research infrastructures in this framework are the following ones. First of all, we have new challenges. And these new challenges will inevitably lead the research infrastructures to expand, further develop the science and technology in support of the Union, in assistance of policies and in serving communities. Then it is to assist the European Union to address some of its obligations to international organizations. An example of this is the UN's strategic sustainable development. Another opportunity for the RICS is to have access to new initiatives, such as big funding instruments in the Horizons Europe framework, such as missions, clusters, the ERC grants, and so on. We are offered the opportunity to deliver science-based and nature-based solutions to global challenges for the society. We now have the opportunity for synergies, to develop synergies with the public funding, the businesses, and the industries towards the new innovation landscape, and then cross-domain integration on technical composability, on the community defragmentation in a wide spectrum of topics. And these topics are, for us, clean energy, sustainable industry, building and renovating, sustainable mobility, biodiversity from farm to fork, and eliminating pollution. In fact, for LIFEWATCH-ERIC, I can't find, where we couldn't contribute to all those topics above, and we are looking forward for this cross-domain integration challenge that is coming up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christos. Just some time. Before to go to the next speaker, I would like to remind the audience that it is extremely important your participation in this conference. So I will invite you to go to the Slido application to send your questions to the panelists to give our opinion regarding the topic that we are dealing with, because it's important. This is a co-creative process, and we need to construct steps in this process together with that the white paper is introducing. Please use the tools. We will be eager to see your questions. Thank you. And now we go to the next speaker. Our next speaker is Esfri. It is the Director General of ERIC, and we will give us his approach to the topic from this research infrastructure. Please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ima. And also would like to thank the Croatian Presidency for this opportunity to both present Excel and how we can contribute, and also on behalf of all the research infrastructure throughout Europe. This is a good opportunity to share some experiences and have some recommendations for the future. So I'd like to share my my presentation now. So I hope it will. Well, it didn't work. Now I just have to go back again, probably. It worked on the.
It is working. We see your screen.
See it. I can just do like this, and so you can see the whole.
Yes.
In the wide format.
I think so.
Okay. That's good if you can.
Could you advance to the next one to see if it is working?
Yeah, can try.
It's not working.
No, just a moment.
You need to open your presentation before sharing. Now it's working.
Yeah, you saw the slide now?
The second one, yes.
And the first one here. Okay, perfect. Yes. Thank you. Then I can just use the...
But to remind you that we need to be fast in the talk.
So, yes, so as I said, I want to just give a brief introduction to Excel and some contribution and opportunities that we see. So next slide, you can see a brief overview of the Excel-ERIC distributed research infrastructure. It's basically, as you can see, the operation center in Norway, in Trondheim. We have France, Italy, United Kingdom, and the Netherlands as member countries, and we are providing through the 21 facility owners around 79 world-class research facility. And we are providing open access to all of them. And we are expanding continuously with new facilities, new operators, and we hope that we will expand with new member countries in the years to come. And as you can see on the map, we are missing quite a few, both Central European and Eastern European countries, also some of the Nordic countries. So we like to include them as well to get a wider research infrastructure with more facilities which will be complementary to those we have already. And we have already upgraded and constructed new infrastructures for around 100 million euros, and we still have are planning to invest some 100 million more up until 2030. And on the right side, you can see here how we already contribute to with facilitating this infrastructure for research projects and programs for researchers and the industry, then for developing new technology innovation within this carbon capture, utilization and storage field. So we contribute with developing this technology for commercialization and implementation for the industry, and thereby we are contributing to the reduction of CO2 emissions and according to the Paris Agreement, and reducing the global warming. So how we fit into the European Green Deal and the strategy agenda, which are not being sort of developed within the EU and the Commission. We can see that on the left side here, Excel will have an impact, and we already have an impact on these boxes and these elements of how we shall combat climate change. So we all, both within the industry, which actually needs CCUS, because many products like cement, steel, and so forth, there are no other solutions than introducing and implementing carbon capture and storage. And also, obviously, in the energy sector for the energy transition is also needed. There's a lot of measures needed, energy efficiency, renewables, and CCS and others to, as a whole, meet the targets that has been set on a European and also on a global scale. So finalizing, I will just show how we can impact and which opportunities we have for mobilizing research and fostering innovation. Already mentioned, at least 35% of Horizon Europe funding would be for climate solutions, and you can see the other elements on the box on the left side. And the contribution opportunities and visibility for ERIC, but also I think for quite a few other research infrastructure would be that we have to be a bit more included into the EU strategies and plan, and the set plan, ERIC was already on the old one, and we need to be even more visible, I think, in these kind of policy and the EU plans. And for the EU calls and funding schemes, particularly upcoming Horizon Europe, we expect that there will be a mentioning and hopefully also recommendations for using the relevant research infrastructures as ERIC. Then it will be more visible, and those research programs, European research programs and projects would be recommended to use the existing research infrastructure across Europe. And then the two last ones here is very important, that the national commitments on a governmental level needs to be in place. We have had good support in ERIC from the member countries, but we want to expand with new memberships. So we like to also the EU and the Commission and these documents on a high level to recommend other countries to join who has already in place research facilities which are complementary to those we have already. And it's quite a few countries that have that. So and the last one, the industry is really of importance. That involvement from the industry and partnerships will increase. And the SEP platform could be one way, more collaboration, and maybe we could have research infrastructure as observers or attending meetings and be part of the development of their policies and plans. So I think I'd like to stop there, and I hope I was within the 5-6 minutes I had in place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sver. Perfect, on time. So thank you for your presentation. It is clear that it is many activities that in which the research infrastructure and initiatives in which the research infrastructure can contribute, and you are showing us in all your presentation about that. So shall we go to the third panelist? Our third panelist is Tonchi Tadic. He is the president of the council of the preparatory phase of the project, of the Esfri project done. Please, Tonchi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Just a second. Okay, I hope you see my presentation now.
Not yet?
Yes, okay, thank you. Thank you, Irma, and thanks.
Sorry, Tonchi, it's not, I don't see your presentation. But
I see it's, sorry, just a moment. I did not start screen share. Okay, share, and now We'll do it. Okay, it's
perfect now.
Good. Okay, so thank you, Irma, and thanks to Croatian Presidency for organizing this conference. I will say a couple of words about Donors Preparatory Phase project, which is Esfri project consisting of 16 institutions from 10 European countries, means Spain as a host country of this project, Croatia, France, Germany, Portugal, Hungary, Belgium, Italy, Poland, and UK. So fusion is a carbon-free energy source, and fusion reaction powers the sun and the stars. European Fusion Roadmap is the response to the challenge how to create the right condition for achieving of sustainable fusion energy here on Earth, literally to get a piece of Earth, a piece of sun on Earth. So to do this, we need to have ITER to control and to achieve burning plasma, but also we need DONES and IFMIF to make construction of fusion power plant possible by checking of materials radiation hardness. The aim is to have fusion power plant by the mid-century. The inherent safety features of the fusion power plant means that fusion is an option for future carbon-free energy production on massive scale. So in order to do so, in order to construct European demonstration fusion power plant demo, we need, as I said, to achieve a burning plasma, and this would be done by 2035 at ITER, which is under construction, and it's a huge project, 15 billion euros, jointly financed by European Union, USA, Russia, India, China, Korea, and Japan. But of the equal importance is IFMIF DONES, that means facility for making of radiation hardness database of fusion materials. Namely, fusion reactor in demo will produce high intensity, high energy flux of fusion neutrons, which means that we need radiation hard materials. So the fusion power plant depends on or stays on these two equally important pillars, ITER and DONES. So although DONES is about 20 times cheaper, about 750 million euros, it will be of the same importance, and it is of the same importance for the fusion power plant as ITER itself. This cost will be shared by the Spain as host country. The construction will start by the end of next year in Granada, Spain, and the cost will be shared by European Commission and all other member countries which I mentioned in this project. So I have to stress here that beside of scientific importance for fusion research, the IFMIF DONES will be record breaker in several technology fields. It is the accelerator with the highest ion beam power of unprecedented power of the ion beam of 5 megawatts with very high current density. It is a liquid metal waterfall made of fast flowing liquid lithium on 300 degrees. It is a test module and a test cell which is heated and helium cooled, and there is plenty of remote handling in remote conditions. Each of these parts has to be specially designed. So what I want to stress here that DONES is actually a technology hub. And actually, construction of any advanced research infrastructure means development of an advanced technology. And finally, beside of this primary fusion goal, IFMIF donors will enable plenty of complementary research using high flux of fusion like high energy neutrons, but also high power ion beam of 125 milliamp 40 MeV deuteron beam in 4 areas. This is application of medical interest. It is basic physics studies, it's nuclear physics and radioactive beam facility, and this is industrial application of high energy neutrons and high power ion beam. And I have to stress that IFMIF donors is long-term project. From its construction, which should start by the end of next year, it will pass also through several phases, a possible upgrade in second half of this century and at the commissioning by the end of this century. And finally, I have to stress here that IFMIF donors as fusion-related facility may have a relevant role in the realization of European Green Deal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tonchi, for your presentation. Great to have all this information. And I want to remind again to our audience that about the tools that are available for them to be part of the conference and to participate in all the discussion that we are bringing to the conference. So please use the Slido tool for sending us your comments, for sending us your statement, your position, your views regarding the white paper, regarding the topics that we are discussing in the session, and of course, questions for the panelists. We are eager to receive this question. Please don't forget to use it. That is available for that. And that's it. We will go to the final panelist. Our next speaker, Jana Kolar, is the Executive Director of LIFEWATCH-ERIC. So, Jana, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Inma. I would really like to share my presentation. Can you see my presentation now? Yes, thank you.
Now, it looks like it's coming.
Thank you very much. So, dear colleagues, good morning. It's still morning. Thank you very much to Croatian Presidency for the invitation. CERIC is a reasonably new infrastructure. It was established in mid-2014, and we offer, we are a distributed facility through 8 countries in Central and Eastern Europe, and we offer access to nearly 50 instruments for complementary, multidisciplinary research in all fields of advanced materials, biomaterials, nanotechnology, also cultural heritage. CERIC has several objectives which were ambitiously put down by our funders that proposed the establishment to the European Commission 6 years ago. Among them, of course, is scientific excellence, which is the objective shared by all the research infrastructures. However, we have also several other ones. For example, also we, according to the statute, we are to contribute to the development of European research area, for example. Yet, since our establishment in 2014, several new objectives are added, not just to us, to all the research infrastructures. So the list keeps growing. We are all addressing how the data that we create can be accessed by the researchers. And the white paper contributed a few new objectives to the list. If I need to single out one thing from the Esfri white paper, it is that we all need to contribute to European strategic agendas. We're certainly capable of this, and we're doing this already. The current crisis, COVID crisis, have showed unquestionably how robust and resilient research infrastructures are even at these times, as they set up, as the commissioner mentioned, over 70 entries are already on the Esfri webpage of the specific services that research infrastructures have set up in a few months to address the COVID-19 crisis. So despite the fact that we do publish continuously papers that address various societal challenges, for example, CERIC reports annually our contribution in papers to the objectives of environment, energy, health, cultural heritage. Yet the message of research infrastructures is apparently not getting across, since we are asked to contribute strongly to European strategic agendas. Basically, for us, this new objective is absolutely crucial, because addressing the expectations of our funders is what we consider a key to our sustainability. So basically, what we need to do is certainly to address strategic agendas better, because what we are doing so far is obviously not good enough. And we are prepared to do that. We just need to find out how. So in 2018, we started looking into how CERIC can address European strategic agendas better. I mentioned at the beginning, we are a general purpose material characterization research infrastructure that covers everything that contributes to health and energy. So in order to define which one we should target more, we first reviewed the existing strategic agendas, and there are many of them, from SDGs to missions to Green Deal, Commission priorities, Council priorities. We also analyzed the ERA landscape to see where additional services that we introduce, or the emphasis on these services, how they would fit in the existing landscape. We looked at the suitability of our current offer and the existing excellence. Considering the existing excellence, 15% of our papers currently are among the top 10% most cited papers in a particular discipline. And 30% of this, more than 30%, are in the field of energy and energy storage. So this field ticks also all the other boxes. For example, there's it ticks the objective, the climate objective, contributes to climate and energy plan, to the European Green Deal. Possibly we can contribute also to the mission, but that we will see later on. Now, in addition to, once we have decided which strategic agenda we would like to address in more detail, we proposed to our General Assembly, and it adopted last year, that we should run a pilot on how to deliver better the services to the battery community. And in order to do this, we have, first of all, hired an expert group from the domain of battery experts, scientists that know the research infrastructures, to advise us how our infrastructures, which ones are currently suitable, which ones, how they should be adapted to serve the community better, and which new ones we should add to be more suitable. And we are an ERIC, so once we know which infrastructures we should add, we'll be looking for them, either among our existing partnerships in 8 countries, or we can, for example, try to convince a government that hosts a suitable research infrastructure to join CERIC. In addition to this research infrastructure roadmap in batteries that we now have, we also produced a plan on how to build our internal expertise to help the users, but also instrument scientists, which are not experts in batteries, and also how to identify the existing community and link to them better. We've done that already with the communities across the pillars of Horizon Europe. And we're preparing a communication plan so that they would, the communities would know that we exist. In conclusion, I should stress that RIs have so far already contributed to the challenges. and we have continuously modernized the services. Yet we obviously need to raise it to another level because we're not good enough at it. So these two priorities, the addressing the challenges and also modernization of services, we will gladly add to our list of objectives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jana, for your presentation. It's the time for questions. So shall we start? We have less than 15 minutes for questions. So shall we start? We have received some of the questions from the audience, and I will try to pass them to the speakers. So I would like to start with a question for Barbara. And the question is, how can public policy stimulate the use of research infrastructures to better support the objectives of the European Green Deal and the Energy Union?
Thank you. I think public policy and there will be certainly many public policy makers in the audience, is always the first to react and to make the best possible use of both EU initiatives and the possibility, and as the Commissioner and the Croatian Minister mentioned several times, alignment between regional, national, and EU policies are of utmost importance. And this is definitely true, or even more so maybe with research infrastructures, where you can also combine structural funds in an intelligent way in the smart specialization framework with EU and national funding. But there is also a very practical example from Austria, for instance. We established an open for collaboration database for research infrastructure, including all publicly funded research infrastructure from our public universities, research organizations, but also including research infrastructures from private companies and other interested partners, with the aim of enhancing cooperation among the research community. And we see that there is quite some interest internationally and in Europe in this database. Because it helps in the management of infrastructure and in policy making. And we have over 1,600 research infrastructures that are open for collaboration already, and more than 100,000 visitors from 150 countries worldwide. So just one practical example. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Barbara. Our next question, a general question. We have seen in our guiding question that we ask for what are the research infrastructure could offer for the Green Deal and the Energy Union. And we have been discussing about that your presentation, telling us what are the involvement of your research infrastructures in the development of these policies, European policies. But what are the opportunities that the European Green Deal and the Energy Union provide for research infrastructures? The other way around. What are the opportunities that you see from the Green Deal and the Energy Union for your research infrastructures? I don't know who wants to.
May I? Perfect,
don't you?
Yeah. Fusion is obvious choice. It's a carbon-free energy production, and we actually would like to see fusion as integral part of European Green Deal. On the other hand, we need to stress a multi-sectoral approach to research by multiplying sources of financing of large infrastructure, scientific infrastructure projects. So by synergy at European level, the Green Deal would be easily achieved.
Okay, thank you. Somebody else wants to say something?
Well, I can briefly say that for us, for CERIC, Green Deal is certainly an opportunity. It's more difficult for us to contribute, for example, to the mission with its to create 100 carbon neutral cities in 10 years, because we are a research infrastructure that works, let's say, at the low technology readiness levels mostly. If the mission on 100, if we want to have 100 carbon neutral cities in 10 years and implement this through a contract with 100 cities, it's not likely that the cities would think, no matter how good we are, that they would think, oh, there's a synchrotron, for example, or a neutron source, or an NMR. We should ask them to develop something new. They will more likely look for something that's ready on the shelf, a late TRL, very well developed innovation that they can readily implement in order to be carbon neutral in 10 years. However, Green Deal asks for carbon neutrality by 2050. And we have so many contributions to make in the field of energy, energy storage, carbon dioxide sequencing and modification, that is really an opportunity for us. And it's well specified with the communities ready to go to address it, to which we should link better. And these are the KICs, for example, in the third pillar of EIT KICs, in the third pillar of Horizon Europe, or for example, in the second one, partnership like Batteries 2030, and clusters and similar initiatives.
Thank you, Jana.
Inma, can I?
Yes?
Yeah, I think.
Christos, please.
Yes. I think we have shown a couple of examples on this, and I think that there are a couple of levels at which there are opportunities right now for the research infrastructures to be involved in the Green Deal and Union Energy framework. For instance, there is always the new challenge for them to expand, to develop further their science and technology in supporting union and in serving the communities, in assisting the EU to address its obligations to the various international organizations. We now have access to new initiatives such as missions, clusters, and so on. But this kind of instruments, this kind of programs are not like the previous one. What they want from the research infrastructures is a cross-domain synergy, is collaboration, is breaking our current, let's say, barriers between the research infrastructures, and even more important, and that requires a change in our culture as well. It gives us the opportunities, to deliver science-based and nature-based solution for our European society challenges. And also it brings us to the point where we need, to make synergies with many resources of funding, not only the union funding, but also the national and the regional one. And as LifeWatch, I know that we have done, something really innovative in this, because we are trying, to maximize the impact of the structural funds at the regional level, and try to capitalize on the technology and knowledge which is existing in many nations as well. So if one region, for instance, if Andalusia is investing on one certain topic, then the other regions from around Europe, from around the Union, can benefit on this. And I think that's also important. Thank you.
Thank you for the contribution, Christos. Well, a new question.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to support what's already been said here, and I think the Green Deal and the framework and the concrete plans we see is much more specific, and it's easier to adapt to from our point of view, because we can now see much clearer where we fit in. And we can link to the targets and also the different expectations that the Green Deal has set up. So yes, it's very promising, and I hope it will be more visible, or the research infrastructure be even more visible as we go along, and we have some collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And your question is coming. And it is in relation with this innovation, the role that the infrastructure also have as innovation hub. And we have received a question saying that the new European industrial strategy is now public. Should the research infrastructure create a coordinated document to demonstrate how they will support this new strategy?
Absolutely, Irma, absolutely. As I stressed in my presentation, every new large European research infrastructure is actually a technology hub. If anyone is building new advanced research infrastructure, he is actually dealing with the developing of advanced technologies. And this is benefit for European industry for sure. So they will participate, of course, in construction, but they will participate also in development of advanced high tech required for construction and operation of these new European research infrastructure facilities. So we need to do some coordination with European industry.
Okay, we will take this into consideration.
Yes, one comment from me also. We have just started the InfraDev 3 project, which we have called Accelerate, with the funding from EU, and a huge part of this and work package and tasks included in this project is actually targeting the industry and increasing collaboration with the industry to include some industrial research facilities. It could also be some collaboration and integrated projects. So we are going to look into that in the project, and I think this is important for the Green Deal. Also, this close collaboration with the industry.
Okay, thank you for taking. Jana?
Yes, I will just briefly say that at ERIC we also follow this objective very closely. But I would like to stress one other point. At this point, all the analytical facilities, their operations are basically very much, to a large point, at a standstill, because they require, to a large extent, the users to come to the facility. The travel bans prevent that from happening, and also research facilities around Europe basically at the moment a lot of them are not performing, so the samples cannot be prepared. Now what we can do, and I think this is relevant for all the analytical facilities that require the users, also industrial users, to come to the facility, is to put up remote access to as many instruments as possible, as soon as possible, because the COVID crisis and the bans are not going away within a year. And we cannot stand still watching the climate degrade and so on. We need to do our share of research. And by doing this, modernizing our services, this will be beneficial for us also in the future, because it will basically reduce the need to travel and thus contribute to the reduced basically carbon footprint of our operations. And I think this is also a very important contribution to the Green Deal.
Okay. Last question. How could research infrastructure contribute to the mission of 100 carbon neutral cities by 2030? So it is clear that research infrastructures can contribute to many things, and we have had a broad presentation of comprehensive presentation of Barbara with all the initiatives in which the research infrastructure are expected to be part and contribute to. One of these are, in the context of the Horizon Europe, the missions. And there is a clear mission related with what we are discussing here. And it will be good to end telling the audience what is the position or the answer to this question. How we can contribute to the mission, and in particular to this mission. Jana?
Yes, very good. I think research infrastructures have really a lot to contribute. Not necessarily, also analytical facilities, but like ours, but across the different domains. Social sciences, for example, need to survey the opinions of the society in transformation towards carbon neutrality. Environmental ones are going to measure from aerosols, for example, to carbon emissions. Analytical facilities in the physics and engineering will contribute, of course, to the development of green energy solutions and so on. So there's really across the disciplines. There's basically not one discipline that could not be included. It's only a question whether we are appropriate ones to, whether all of the RIs are equally appropriate to address emission in 10 years. For some, it's a longer timeline, more suitable for the Green Deal objective than for the mission of the 100 cities. But I think that unless if cities, because they will receive these smart contracts, the funding will go to the cities, unless the cities recognize the needs for the contributions of research infrastructures, we will not contribute. So maybe we should think together with our funders, but also with European Commission, on some coordinated action to demonstrate across the fields all the breadth of the contributions that research infrastructures can bring to this mission.
Thank you. Last opportunity. Yes, last opportunity. We are almost out of time. So, Christos,
yes, I think that there are a couple of issues here that come, together, and there is a link, with the previous question as well. I mean, for this mission, definitely we need, what we call, big science and big data. And for this, we need, to develop innovation on sensors, innovation of tools for the citizen science, for the raising the sensitivity and awareness of the citizens. And also, we need, to develop first the innovation and then propose, nature-based solution as well. But all this, they cannot happen, by a single infrastructure, research infrastructure. We need, to start a collaboration, cross-domain collaboration. And by doing this, we are not focusing only on the applied science, but also, on what we used to call fundamental science or curiosity science, because in those cases, there are so many things which are innovative, or they are trigger innovation, and we don't know them when they start. So on one side, we need, to be proactive and start, the cross-domain collaboration. On the other side, missions bring the challenge for the infrastructures for innovation, and that brings the infrastructures one step closer to the industry and to the business.
Thank you so much. So with this, we conclude this panel. Thank you, all the panelists, for being here. Our apologies to our audience for this technical problem that I expect couldn't create a big issue for following our session. It was a pleasure to have seen here that there are already collaboration of the research infrastructure in all the policies and in all the initiatives that are running in Europe. But there is a lot of room for additional, for strengthening this possibility. we have a big number of initiatives around us and policies in which the research infrastructure has something to say, has possibilities to contribute, to help, to produce new science, to help to solve societal challenges. And we have had here the opportunity to see some of them, but there is a lot of work to do. There is a margin for continue building on these issues, and we will continue. And from Esfri, we will support and foster the possibility to continue working on this line. So thank you so much, and I will, with this, I conclude this. I close this panel. Thank you.